It's time for today's travel and cruise industry news. With the latest from travel and cruises around the world, here's your host, Chillie Falls.
Good morning. Welcome to Travel and Cruise Industry News on this Thursday, February 9th, 2023. Do have a bunch of stories again today, folks. Goodness gracious. Get rid of the oxygen. Sorry about that. All right. Main stories today. The lead story is 3 Continent Carnival Cruise. Perfect day at CocoCay is going to increase the capacity. Gifts to crew limited. A live comedy theater at sea. Holland America Cruise drops Skagway. Complete itinerary change for Quantum of the Seas. Explora 1 and 2. And a new home for the Costa Magica. And much more live here at 11 o'clock this morning. And today, folks, is National Pizza Day. You guys all know what I think about pizza. So go have some pizza. Highly recommended for today. If you're listening via the blog, by the podcast, I've been working on the blog all morning. Get the brain in the right gear here. If you're listening via the podcast, welcome aboard. You can always access the podcast via my blog. How's that? Which is accessadventure.net, or wherever you get your podcast from. Just search for Travel and Cruise Industry News, and up pops the fat travel guy. So anyway, welcome aboard. Anytime you are listening by the podcast, there's always a link in the description. If you should want to hop over to the video feed, just go to the description and it'll take you right there if you would like to do that. So, do have a couple things this morning before we get on with the proceedings. I just got off the Vloggers Cruise, and I keep getting questions. Well, did you meet this person, or did you meet that person, or such and such? That was the Vloggers Cruise, folks. Now, that's not even all. Those are the ones that showed up at 7 a.m. for the group picture. So there would be more that didn't make it at 7 a.m. So just throwing that one out. And our buddy Bethany down in Tampa, she actually arrived in Buenos Aires this morning. She's getting on a Azamara cruise in South America. We will be following her relentlessly through this cruise, because that's actually a bucket lister for me. All right, we'll get things started here after a quick message from Scootaround.
Do you have a bad back, bad hips, bad knees, or any other mobility issues? Think about Scootaround. For scooters, walkers, wheelchairs, even oxygen needs, delivered right to your cabin. Scootaround for all your mobility needs on your upcoming cruise.
And I will be calling them this afternoon. And so I got a pretty full day today. I've got, of course, the Cruise Amigos comes up at 1 o'clock my time. That's 12 o'clock Nanook of the North Amigo John's time, and 6 o'clock Greenwich Mean Time for you folks on the other side of the pond, and Amigo Martin, of course. So the Cruise Amigos, and then right after that, got to jump in the car and go right down the street to the Money Man. I have my annual meeting on my investment accounts and so forth. So we're also going to talk a little bit about my grandkids' college fund. So, but that's coming up this afternoon. And quite frankly, folks, I screwed up. I know none of you will find that shocking, but I actually screwed up. Nothing terribly deranged, but I let two cruises run together, sort of. So I'm going to Baltimore, to be on the Enchantment of the Seas with my friend Janie and with Kevin from 30 and a Wake Up. That's an 8-day cruise. So here's the new schedule. I get off that ship, go straight to the airport, fly to Fort Lauderdale, and get on the Zandam the next morning, the next day, and do a 14th-day Zandam cruise into San Diego, and then fly back to Fort Lauderdale and back to Baltimore to get my car and drive home. So I'm going to be gone like a month. So for somehow I thought I had a week in between. I didn't. Thankfully, I'm not going to lose either cruise, but it's just going to put me on the fly. So, all right, I'll be back with today's top news story after a quick word from one of our network sponsors. Okay, top story this morning. The recently refurbished Carnival Luminosa that transferred from Costa Cruises' fleet as part of the new Carnival Fun Italian-style initiative will take guests on an epic journey spanning 3 continents across 31 days. It's one of the longest and most unique voyages in Carnival's history, starting in Australia and ending on the U.S. West Coast. This will be one of the most unique journeys offered by Carnival and will set sail in the spring of 2024. The Carnival cruise ship will begin the long cruise on April 1st, 2024 from Brisbane, Australia, which is where the ship is currently based. In total, the voyage will include 9 port visits and 19 days. 19 days at sea. There will be a visit to Guam, time in Tokyo, stops in some of the most popular Alaskan ports of call, Seward, Juneau, and Ketchikan. Of special interest is a stop in Okinawa, Japan, which will be Carnival Cruise Line's first ever visit to that area. And the cruise will conclude in Seattle on May the 1st, 2024, where the ship will remain home ported through mid-September for the Alaskan sailing season. So, Pittsburgh Jason and some of you big-time Carnival people, there's your bucket lister. All right, CocoCay. Of course, that's perfect day at CocoCay. Not the right pronunciation, but anyway. Royal Caribbean Group has big plans for perfect day at CocoCay. It's a private island in the Bahamas. During the recent fourth quarter earnings call earlier this week, Jason Liberty and Royal Caribbean International President Michael Bailey revealed plans to increase the island's capacity to 13,000 visitors per day. Perfect Day at CocoCay has quickly become one of the most popular destinations for cruise travelers, with the launch of Icon of the Seas coming and with the addition of new Hideaway Beach an adult-only neighborhood set to launch in the fourth quarter of this year, the island is sure to become even more popular. Little is known about Hideaway Beach at this time, except that it'll be adults-only resort area. The new addition to the cruise line private island is set to launch in the fourth quarter and is expected to bring an additional 3,000 people to the island. This will further increase the capacity to 13,000 visitors daily. Royal Caribbean expects to bring 2.5 million to 3 million guests to CocoCay in 2023. This would mean between 7,000 and 8,000 guests visiting the island each day of the year. Wow. All right. For a long time, many of us that have cruised have brought small gifts to give to crew members as appreciation for their helpful service in creating our amazing trips. Items have ranged from treats such as cookies, candy, snacks to more practical items like phone cards, socks, and toiletries. Hot Air Time is one that has many times taken special socks to crew members, and they love him for that. Carnival Cruise Line is now introducing a policy to prohibit some gift items. Brand Ambassador John Hield addressed the new policy on his Facebook page in response to guests' questions about items to give crew members. This is a new guideline for this, Hield said. Please only bring something that is factory sealed and still in a packet or box. Individual candy or cookies, etc., won't be able to be taken by the crew, I'm afraid. This is for their safety. This means that any opened or homemade items will not be able to be accepted or may be immediately discarded, regardless of the item or to whom it is given. Now, further details about this restriction were made immediately available, but the new guideline is intended for the safety of the crew. There are several ways that even the most well-meaning gift could be unsafe. Homemade goodies, for example, might have unknown allergens in the recipe, such as nuts that could give a crew member a dangerous reaction. The best safeguard crew members, Carnival Cruise Line is restricting any gift items that are not in the original factory sealed packaging. That'll ensure that items have not been tampered with in any way and are properly labeled so their safety is confirmed. The quickest, easiest gift to give any crew member who goes above and beyond with excellent service is a little money, a little cash. They can spend this on whatever they like. We've talked about that numerous times on this cruise. That's always been what I do. Usually my room steward, if I'm in the main dining room for most of a cruise, my waiter's there, maybe a bartender or two that has been exceptionally friendly over the course of the cruise. That's what I have always selected to do. The crew love to remember you, so if you want to bring them something like a baseball cap, a key ring, or something that will remind them of you and the kindness you showed them, then that would be marvelous, explained Ambassador Hield. Consider small items from your hometown, like local postcards, magnets, or even fun keepsakes. Other great gifts include personalized notes or a sincere, face-to-face thank you, acknowledging their superior service. Those greetings can mean a lot to a crew member and can brighten anyone's day. You can also take some steps to make the crew members easier. This is one thing that I try to do. Honest, I do, folks. maybe keep your room a little neater so they don't have to work so hard to clean it up. I try never to throw anything on the floor, clothes or towels or anything like that. Try to hang them up. How about maybe returning glasses to a bar or a restaurant? That's one thing that I could do better at. That keeps, my room steward from having to do that. That's not a bad thought. But I do. I try to keep my place a little neater so it's a little easier on them. So that's Carnival's going to block some of the gifts now. And I understand the reasons why, because you never know when somebody is allergic to something. All right, this is a little different, folks. Adora Cruises is the first cruise brand focused on the Chinese and Asian market, unveiled a new partnership with China's leading comedy production company, Mawa Fun Age. This innovative partnership is set to bring China's first ever live comedy theater to the seas. Adora Cruises, which operates under Carnival Cruise Shipping Limited, wants to deliver a brand new cruise entertainment experience for Chinese and Asian guests with the collaboration of Mawa Fun Age. Adora is taking their entertainment offerings to a new level. The May 7th sailing of New Amsterdam will not be the same itinerary as advertised when guests initially booked their cruise aboard this signature class ship. The cruise line reached out today to notify guests that there are several changes to the cruise, including one complete port of call change and several port visits being moved to different days. The impacted voyage is a 14-night sailing round trip from Vancouver, Canada, with several amazing Alaskan ports of call and cruising through the majestic Glacier Bay, one of the top must-visit sites in the last frontier. Please be advised that due to operational reasons, New Amsterdam will no longer call to Skagway. Instead, will call to Victoria, British Columbia. That's from their email. The visit to Skagway was to have been on Tuesday, May the 16th, while the new port visit to Victoria will be on Saturday, May the 20th. To accommodate this change, the ship visits to Sitka, Ketchikan, and Prince Rupert will all be moved up one day in the itinerary, and May 19th will now be a day at sea. Now, there's no talk about them offering any compensation for losing Skagway since they're adding Victoria on. Personally, I would rather be in Skagway than in Victoria. However, you got the issue, and I'm sure this is behind this cancellation. The issue with the mudslides, rock slides in Skagway that's damaged the pier. It even damaged one ship. And many cruise lines are pulling out of Skagway until they get that repaired. I can understand that. So that's probably behind it. But I was not particularly impressed with Victoria. But we'll see. I might try a little more in Victoria next time. All right, this is Quantum of the Seas. I was on Quantum of the Seas last year. I was my Alaska cruise. Quantum of the Seas will not be sailing any of the anticipated itinerary for its February 7th departure. That was earlier this week. Tropical Cyclone Gabrielle is currently churning through the Coral Sea northeast of Australia, just where Quantum was scheduled to sail. Instead, the ship will be following an alternative itinerary with different ports of call well out of the storm's projected path. Due to the influence of the tropical cyclone Gabrielle, the ship will now be sailing south rather than northeast, visiting Hobart, Tasmania, and Sydney, Australia. The call in Sydney will be an overnight visit from 8 a.m. on Sunday through 10 p.m. Monday night, giving guests plenty of time to explore and enjoy the amazing city. The ship will return to Brisbane on Friday the 15th as scheduled, long after the storm hopefully has moved away from the area. In the meantime, this is projected to be one of the most serious storms of the century. All right. MSC, we've talked about this a little in the past. MSC has developed Explora 1, which is the first of up to 6 ships scheduled to join the fleet of Explora Journeys, and is to be officially named on July the 8th in Civitavecchia. That's, of course, Rome. The vessel will then transfer to Southampton for her inaugural voyage on July 17th, a 15-night cruise to Northern Europe and to Copenhagen. The coin ceremony for Explora 2, the second of the 6 ships planned for MSC's Group Explora Journeys, took place yesterday at Fincantieri's Sestri Ponente shipyard, which is close to Genoa. MSC Explora 2 is scheduled to enter service in August of 2024. And finally, folks, oops, I did that wrong. Sorry. Wow, I keep doing that, don't I? Sorry about that little blip in the recording there. The cruise ship Costa Magica has been sold to the Greek ferry operator and largest cruise ship owner in the country, Seajets. According to Greek media reports, the cruise ship was renamed Mykonos Magic and is now flying the flag of Bermuda. So, a new life for Costa Magica. How about that? All right. Let's go over and see who's fussing at me in the chat room today. And by the way, folks, oh yeah, yo, Brooklyn in the house. Please notice what I'm wearing today, folks. That's my yo, Brooklyn in the house shirt for Eddie Studios. The Mask Collector's with us again today. Greetings from Ports Unknown. Remember to give this live stream a thumbs up. Absolutely. We always appreciate that, folks. Kenneth's with us up in Pennsylvania. Good morning from a rainy Pennsylvania. Sorry about that. Well, at least it's not snowy. Mike's with us. Hi, Mike. Everybody's saying good morning. Love the shirt you were wearing, Mr. Chillie. Absolutely, Eddie. Anyone have any suggestions for things to do in Roatan, Honduras? Yes, I do. The one thing that I wanted to do in Roatan, I couldn't do. I wanted to go and have the sloths, visit the sloths and the monkeys. However, one of my friends did go there. They took the excursion, which took them down that awful road. I tried to do it on my scooter and took my life into my hands and turned around and went back. It's about, it's probably a little more than a mile, what I thought was a little shorter distance. which is why also I didn't end up trying it. But it's a great excursion. Everybody loved it. A friend of mine was there, and one of the monkeys jumped up on his head, and the monkey was scratching his hair, and then scratching the monkey's head, and then scratching his hair, and scratching the monkey's hair. The only problem was he peed on my friend's head. Well, that's what monkeys do. They're marking their territory. He liked the guy's head, I guess. So, but yeah, that's supposed to be a really good one in Rotan. Nikki's with us. Very good morning to Chillie and the gang. Dennis is here. Magica. Yeah. I see what I did wrong. Magica. I'll never learn, Dennis. Sonny's with us. She says, hi, everyone. I love seeing Sonny and Eddie both on that ship. That was great fun. The Mass Collector scuba diving or snorkeling at Anthony's Resort. That's another good one. That was actually the first time I was there, which was back in my ambulatory days. I did snorkel at Anthony's Resort. That's been a long time ago. Dennis says, cash only, please. I prefer, that's the way I do it. Don't bring other items. They may not have room for the items. Cash only, please. I agreed with that. Those were suggestions from John Heald, which I don't necessarily agree with. Again, the crew quarters are small. They're much smaller than our quarters are. And if they get a lot of stuff that's not consumable, they run out of space for tchotchkes. That's what I call them. So, yeah. I like giving them cash. Yeah, I really do. And that, knowing a number of crew members, that means a lot to them, especially those that are supporting families back home. That gives them some spending money so they can, when they get a day off, go ashore and go to a store and get snacks or toiletries or any of the things that the cruise lines don't provide for them. So I agree with Dennis on that one. Pleased to hear you've been practicing Civita Vecchia. Yes. That one I got better. Remember to use the open ah as in father when you letter A pronunciations. Magica. Yeah. I know. You're always learning. Never stop learning. No, I don't. That's why I like this. Because, I do know that I am getting better. Slowly. Very slowly. But then I'm old. So, and then I screw up cruise dates and things. Can't believe I did that. Thankfully, I had time and could get flights to get from Baltimore to where am I going? Fort Lauderdale to get on the next cruise. So that was really a dumb move on my part, but it worked out. Okay. A little more expensive than I could have been, but that was a cost that I paid for the trouble. So anyway, when I leave here on the 20, I don't know if I'm going to drive up on the morning of the 23rd or go in the 22nd. I still have a couple calls to make on that, but whether it's the 22nd or 23rd, then I'm gonna be gone for the best part of a month. So anyway, by the time I get on the way back home again, oh well, it'll be fun. On Disney cruises and at Disney parks, Disney gift cards are good. That's nice. So, and Eddie says, "Hey, Sonny, we had a good time on the cruise together, folks. It's nice when you do this kind of thing and get a chance to press the flesh with somebody that's been supporting you and been watching you all along. And it was good to meet some of my quote unquote competitors too. So that was a good week for me. The my accessibility report from Breakaway is posted. I have not promoted it yet because I ran out of time. That will get done sometime today. So invite any of you to hop over to the blog and check out the accessibility report from the Breakaway. Much better than most. I'll tell you that up front. Not perfect. Had some issues, but much better than most of the ships that I've been on. So, all right, guys, that's going to wrap me up for today. Again, Cruise Amigos coming up at 1 o'clock my time in just a little while. What, an hour and a half we start. And then I'll be back same time, same place tomorrow. So, at any rate, guys, have a fantastic day. And as always, stay safe, stay healthy, think about cruising. And hopefully one day soon, we'll all get together on the high seas, just like Eddie and Sonny and a bunch of other people did with me last week. Y'all have a fantastic day. See you tomorrow. Or for Cruise Amigos in a little while.
I regularly post videos on all facets of the travel and cruise industry. So if you like to keep up with the latest in cruise ships, ports of call, cruises themselves, Chillie chats, and travel and cruise industry news, just hit the little subscribe button in the lower right-hand corner, hit the bell notification so you'll be notified when a new video is up or we go live. This video was produced by Chillie's Cruises.